I'm here today with Jürgen Willis, Vice President of Product Management at Microsoft, and I'm excited to talk to him. Jürgen, thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. One of my first questions is, what is your role at Microsoft? What does your team do? And what are the priorities for your organization?
So my name is Jürgen Willis. I lead what we call our specialized workloads and storage team. So storage is all of our Azure storage services. Specialized workloads is where we do unique things around particular workloads. So those workloads are AI, for example, which is obviously an exploding field in all the work that we do for ChatGPT and other big AI customers. But also HPC and SAP and our VMware solution and a number of workloads where we work closely with customers around kind of what is the end-to-end solutions that they need and build out unique infrastructure capabilities.
Yep, AI is definitely important for us too. It's something that we are working on right now as well. So excited to work with you on AI and everything data security and storage. As you talk to customers today, what are some of their biggest concerns around securing their data in the cloud?
Yeah, so much complexity in today's environment. Challenges we hear about from customers, obviously the threats from ransomware and how that has really kind of grown over the past few years, and protecting against that is top of mind for customers. Customers thinking about with the explosion in data and how they want to really make use of that data and get the insights and train models from that data and so on. But how do they protect that data, and then how do they manage across heterogeneous environments for those data states? Those are sort of top of mind things for customers.
Yeah, you mentioned ransomware. We know that's an increasing challenge. It's a board level discussion now, ransomware protection. What are some ways customers can protect themselves against ransomware attacks? What would they do with their data? How should they be thinking about it?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things to think about there. Thinking about how they protect in sort of defense and depth. Thinking about things like zero trust security and sort of the principles there, and explicitly authorizing access. Least privileged access, things like knowing what are the most secure access that's required for certain types of assets, and making sure that it's really just sort of top of mind for every part of the organization in terms of how those things are protected. And then again, along the lines, thinking sort of defense and depth, thinking about strategies around things like vaulted backups and the protection associated with, let's say, that last line of defense associated with vaulted backups.
Yeah, and we're also seeing a huge sprawl in the number of workloads in the cloud. How have cloud-hosted workloads changed the landscape for securing your data and managing them?
Yeah, I think customers are really looking for, as they move to the cloud and are looking for maybe opportunities to sort of, I'll say modernize in terms of how they do these things and how they better protect their assets, while at the same time, giving access to more remote workers and so on. And how do they sort of do this at the same time? Customers are looking for very integrated solutions. They want to be hosting their data in the cloud, running their applications in the cloud, and they're looking for very integrated solutions from an end-to-end management standpoint, from a security standpoint, from a compliance and sort of adherence to regulations, and data sovereignty and operational sovereignty, and essentially looking for integrated solutions that really help them achieve this way and sort of fall into that kind of pit of success from a protection standpoint.
Yeah, these are things that we are very excited to work with Microsoft on. The announcements we have at Microsoft Sentinel, the integration that we are doing from a data security standpoint. I think that integrated solution, as you mentioned, will definitely help our joint customers a lot. What are some of the growing trends that customers should be aware of, especially as it relates to data security and management?
Yeah, I think, thinking about how do we get to more integrated solutions, thinking about defense in depth, I think, things like, the Sentinel integration, for example, right? And how do you sort of correlate all of the different signals that you have in this notion of more proactive threat detection, but utilize all of the information you can kind of bring to bear to identify these threats, to try and mitigate these threats as quickly as possible, thinking again back to sort of zero trust principles, sort of assume that there is a breach at any given point in time. How do you detect where that is? How do you sort of shut down that, and how do you sort of mitigate that? And then, thinking about things like how are you going to recover from that? Do you have immutable copies of your backups and so on that are going to provide you a very fast recovery path for your data, but more importantly for your business?
Yep, absolutely. I think for us, the recovery and resiliency part of the storage and data is extremely important. Something that customers talk to us about all the time. And that fast recovery, like you said, is extremely critical as well. To be able to categorize and classify the data and then being able to recover the one that's extremely important, I think that's critical. Any other things that you would talk to from a customer perspective, things that they should keep in mind, especially when it comes to data storage in the cloud?
Yeah, I think really just thinking deeply about these, being proactive about this, thinking about what is sort of your data protection strategies, thinking about how you test those things, how you test things like failovers, how you test things like restore, and assume things will always only work when you need them if you test them. And so basically that there's both a proactive work in terms of what is sort of the defense in depth, but also making sure that organizations are really sort of testing these capabilities to make sure that they're there, in sort of the event that a bad actor ever does sort of get into the network, and really just being very thoughtful about sort of the plan, but exercising those as well. And I think I would add as well is we have invested a lot. We have thousands of engineers in Azure working on security and data protection and so on. And try and ensure we sort of have the right capabilities around data durability, for example, so that when customers are bringing their data to the cloud and helping them in sort of migrating that data, that we have the right durability for that data, we have the right resiliency options for customers for that data, we have the capabilities of them sort of integrating threat detection capabilities that we have in Azure and with Sentinel as well. It is a significant area of investment for Azure because it is so critical to our customers and sort of the continuity of their business. So we work closely with customers every day to make sure that they're fully aware of these capabilities and taking sort of full advantage of everything that we're investing in.
Yeah. I mean, I'm usually a glass half full person, but when it comes to security, you always have to assume the worst, right?
Yeah.
I know it's overused, but it's true for security.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jürgen. This is extremely valuable. I really appreciate the time you've taken to spend with us answering these questions. I'm sure our customers will definitely appreciate the insights that you provided. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you for having me.